Yeah, these hangings here are just paper, and I hope to take you back to my wee studio and show you how to make them. That's okay. Do you want to come? Come on then. So we're back in my studio and I've got the totems hanging up behind me. I hope you enjoyed seeing them in the community garden. That's my day job, and yeah, so hopefully I can kind of explain a little bit, very briefly, don't worry, on how they came about. And really, I had started looking at some YouTube videos, and I came across a lady called Artemis. I think her name's Andrea, and I kind of binge watched all of her videos that show you all these kind of dangly sort of adornments for your journals, and all the sort of clusters and things that she made. So that kind of spurred me into looking at things like that and using beads. And I really enjoyed using like, you know, the eyelets and building something, if you like, other than just being in the page. So, and I really enjoyed putting together the wire between, and just making up sort of collage pieces like the butterfly, and using artwork that I've already had. Now that brings me to, excuse me, this book here that I started using. It's an altered book. It's called You're an Artist, by A Practical Approach to Art by Fred Gettings. So I started using that 1 year in January 2017, and that was really to spur me into making art every day. So that no matter what, how good, how bad it was in this book, and it's I did it every day for a whole year, not just in this book but a series of books. And I suppose if you go back to my Instagram away at the beginning, you probably maybe see, you know, some of these paintings and collages and drawings, etc. in this. However, when I came across it not so long ago and I was clearing up, I really didn't like most of the things in it. And so what I thought in doing, because I felt not precious about it, I didn't want to particularly keep it, and I thought, well, I can redo this, I can reuse the pages in this. And so, to cut a long story short, I used some of the images that I did like into the collage, or the shapes, in order for me to use it to build up the totems. So, and I like the idea of them because I can start us like a story from start to finish. So if you can see that, this lady here is, I wanted to sort of pay homage to the weather, and so I've added, this is obviously the universe, the sky, the stars, and she's holding, and all the little crystals, she's holding some droplets of rain. And then we go down to the cloud and the rainbow, and then this was representing a bowl of flowers, and also another flower here. and then I made a paper mache heart and just wrote on it some of the things that I liked and was thinking about at that time. And then of course if you turn it round the other way, if it's hanging up, it looks and slightly different from the other side, and then we have a different lady on this side, but we still have all the bits and pieces, you know, to if it's moving around, you can still have bits of interest. So get some old artwork if you haven't done it and that you don't particularly like, and you can cut it up into different shapes, and you get some really fantastic little gems of collage material like that, and just some lovely little pieces of collage that you would never make yourself. And it just so happens, you know, that it turns out really nice when you do cut it up. I'm trying to find, these are ones that I've already cut up, and for instance, I mean that there, and I just love that. I don't know why, I just do. So that can go in somewhere, and this, you know, I'm not that bothered by it, and you know, I can use the boat for something else, or you know, the mark making, etc., and so on and so on. So really that's where I'm coming from with this, and all of these shapes have been in that book, or they have just been scraps of paper. So anyway, let's get into it, and let's get making. So I've had a look through my collage sheets, and I've looked through some of the artwork from this altered book that I was talking about, and I came across a few bits. I had in mind like a sea beach type of theme that I had for my neck. I thought that was like waves and that, and then I came across, she could be a mermaid. She could be a mermaid, and I wouldn't use her whole face, I would use half of her face. This mermaid, and I thought she'd be perfect to go on because she moves, and somehow I could try and keep that movement within her. And then there's just like themes of blues, and I could maybe use this part here as this is kind of watercolory, seaweedy. I'm thinking fish, sunset, more fish, and other, you know, some more collage. And these are just done these the other day, some master boards or collage sheets. Some of these are just neutral, which will be handy as well, and some of these too, so you can make these up as well. So there's loads there, loads and loads that I can use, and I have some other things here on my inspiration board that I could maybe use that might be useful. So watercolour, blobs, you know, that type of thing. And the idea is that you have a sort of a base board. So what I was thinking was that this here could be the baseboard, and I would glue that together to make one piece, and then I would use that to maybe attach something else onto. For instance, if I decided to put on the sunset, for example, I could set that on there, and that would become part of the totem, and I would then just have to put some eyelets on one end and one on the other end, and then that's me. I could attach it, or I could attach 2 eyelets there and then a piece of wire, so that would be the hanging. So you kind of have to decide what you want to start with. For instance, the weather lady, she was my starting point, and then from there you can build on to the bottom, you know, as you go. And I would recommend that if you have a hook somewhere to start off, so that you're working not on your desk, but you've got it hanging up already, so you've done your first board, if you like, your first initial starting point. See, that's my starting point, and I would attach and do all the eyelets, etc., and then I would hang that up, and then I would start to build it from the bottom down. So you can make it as long as you want or as short as you want, and attach as many things as possible, or be very minimalist. It's up to you how you would do it. So I think it's either going to be that, or maybe the face that I might start with. I think I'm going to start with this, actually, because it's got some Paul Klee fish on it. I think it's Paul Klee. Maybe not. Yes. These are Paul Klees, and this is from, and I quite like the fact that it's a face, because I love faces. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this together. I just meant to say that some of the materials you might need are glue. So I might use some Fabri-Tac or glue stick. You need one of these, but you don't have to have one of these. You can get other punch. You could even use, you know, your paper punches like this, and to make your holes, or just punch them with a pokey tool. You can do that, but ideally if you could get one of these, but as I say, they're not necessary. Some florist wire, which I already have. I don't know where I got this from, and it's kind of rusty, which is quite nice, so I quite like that. Eyelets, these are 100 by 4mm, so there's 100 in a pack by 4mm, and they fit into the 3/16 hole punch, so they'll fit in there. And I went and bought some of these. They're like safety pins, but they are in the shape of a wee kind of light bulb, which I quite liked. Or you could just use normal safety pins. So there's alternatives to everything, and you know, you don't have to have any of this kind of equipment to do it. is as well with these that you can make the whole thing, and then you can go back to it the next day or the day after that and add things to it, or you know, and just do it slowly. It doesn't have to be done on one day at all. And you know, sometimes that's better when you sleep on it and come back to it. It's much better because you get a different perspective on it and different eyes looking at it. So, and now I need to just go through again my through the collage sheets and decide what I want on next. So that's kind of similar shape, so I might not do that. I might just do something smaller as a filler, a gap, you know, to fill that, and then to do another main focal point. So this is watercolour paper, so I don't need to reinforce that. So maybe just go, might put that in there and bring that down. Give it a squeeze with the roller. And I'm going to keep this tape on because I think that adds something to it, and it's got water on it from the dictionary, so I'm going to keep that. And that just adds a wee bit more to it. And that's going to be a filler, so remember, see how you need to really work vertically because you start getting a length on your table and you just don't have any room. So I shall maybe use that side or that side, doesn't really matter because you will see both sides anyway. I'll show you how to make these paper flowers, and they're super easy. They are basically the cupcake cases like that, and all you do is, I'm sure you've seen this before, but just in case you haven't, just cut them, slit down the side and then cut out the centre like that. And then when you've cut the centre out, you glue it together, glue it back together so you've got that, and then kind of squish it down so you've got something like that. And then you go and get your collage papers and punch out a circle like these, and then you just glue them down onto your cupcake case like that. So, and you would do that on both sides, and then all you do after that is just cut out the petal shapes. How easy is that? This isn't the best of glue sticks. I can't find my Pritt stick. Anyway, and then you'd want to cut probably, you know, like maybe 5 petals out. So you just go round like that and cut them out. And once you've done that, you can edge them with some ink, distress ink, just to take the edges off and maybe give them that wee bit of a kind of vintage vibe. So there's that, and then there's the cardboard leaves. You could do this for any kind of shape, and I just randomly cut out shapes from cardboard, from packaging that we all have, I gessoed some of it first, or put some white paint on to make the veins of the leaves, and then I used that to make the, you know, the leaf shape as well. Added maybe some odd little snippets on the top, and then just sewed it down. I had obviously watercoloured it before that, and then just sewed it down, and you can make big long lengths of that. So that's really handy to have, and it's quite, you know, you can make a necklace out. So there's that as well. And then remember the old till roll that I used to have? I think I did some kind of could be on my IGTV till roll, and all you do with that is just make marks on it, random marks. You add some paint, splatters, ink, some collage. Put this over my head so you can see, and it goes on like that, just randomly. Oops. So you can see like that. You randomly put the paints on and everything, and then you've got an instant sort of collage paper where you can rip it, and you might use that in some journal or something. You just roll it up and secure it. So that's a really good thing to have on hand. So it's the next day. It's still raining, and but the wind's gone down, so we're okay. Now, after I switched the camera off yesterday, I kind of went through some of the things again, and I thought maybe I could do this mermaid that I showed you before and attach her somehow onto another piece of collage. And what I did was I had two, and I just attached so that on the other side, so that if she does burrow round like this, you have a mermaid on both sides. But it's just too obvious a thing to do, I think. And even though I love her, she's, I think, going to go into another project, because she's quite dominant should be dominant in the overall piece, so I definitely didn't want to put her in. So she goes away, and then this morning I came back with some fresh eyes, and I had another look through this pile of things. And what I did was, I have this in my studio, this shell, and I thought I would just take the shape of that and some of the lines that I had on these pages as a guide to the shell shape. So I quite like that. And then I had the C shape, C with the boat on it, so I want to put that in, and that's the other side. So that's quite sea-like and kind of urchins and that type of thing. That's what I was thinking of. And also the shape of it. I live beside the sea, and there is an island, a volcanic island, over about maybe 10 miles away from the coast. So when I can look out my window and see it every morning, and it's called Ailsa Craig, and it's dormant now, and it has been for a long time, and it's a very much a loved landmark in this part of the world. And and a lot of artists paint it. That's the other thing. When they come along here, they do paint it. I think Keats actually painted it at one point, or made a poem about it, I should say. And I think, if I'm correct, some of the pre-Raphaelites had painted it. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, so the point is that is kind of the shape of it. in the sea, so I thought I would have that as the shape. And these fish here was I had painted or drew that a long time ago out of an old sketchbook, so I want to use that as well. Excuse me. And I have some little shells with holes in them that I can string through. So yep, so I think I'm going to go with that, and as things progress I might add things as well, but we'll see how it goes. Just wanted to come in and say yes, I was right about John Keats, the poet, who wrote a poem about Ailsa Craig called To Ailsa Rock. And also, see, my memory's working not too bad, the Pre-Raphaelite artist called William Bell Scott, he painted Ailsa Craig in a painting called Harvest in Ayrshire with Ailsa Craig. So yay! So I'm having a change of plan. I'm actually taking you over to my desk and I'm going to do it from there, because I can't seem to film it properly from that angle, and yeah, this just might make it a bit easier for you to see. Okay. So I made these 3 little dangles as well, because I feel like some dangles should be along the bottom here. So I'm trying out one just now and see if I like it, and then I might punch another couple of holes at the bottom just to see if maybe 3 might go on there at the bottom, and that might work. So I'm going to add those and see how I got on. So that's the 3 of them on now. So the next thing I need to do is just take a look at everything and just see what extra things I need to do with it. And I might actually put on that John Keats poem. I might actually like write some of that out and attach it somewhere, maybe throughout the whole piece. I've also found some from other pieces of artwork that I'm not really precious about, some words. So I found Discover, Wind in Her Hair, Open Skies, and this one here that was in a journal I did about the beach. And what I did was I just photocopied that, and it says, when was the last time you spent a quiet moment just sitting and looking at the sea? So I'm going to kind of age that a little bit and just bring that down because it's too bright. And then I'll find a place where that might go, if anywhere, because sometimes, you know, it doesn't quite match with everything. So, and that's quite nice. I quite like how that has kind of grunged up. And these are just bits of cardboard. So the other thing I have is a wee bird that I carved out of the rubber lino stuff, printing them onto old paper, old book paper, and that might do actually, that one, just that one. And I can cut those out and stick them on the totem at some point. It's absolutely freezing in here. I've got the heater on, but my feet are like ice cubes again. So I don't know how long I'm going to last out here. I keep going in the house and coming back out once I've heated up again. Yes, it's that cold. But I should be used to it, because I recently, in the last month, have been swimming in the sea. So that's another sort of reason why I've chosen the sea to be a theme for this latest totem. Yes. I should be used to the cold by now. Swimming in the sea has been absolutely fab. I've been doing it with my friend, and we've got wetsuits on, but it's still pretty cold, and it's March in Scotland, but there are people who go in without, just with their swimsuits on, and you know, and icy lakes and lochs and different places like that. So we're just starting out and we're not quite ready for that yet. So this is what the totem looks like just now. I think I'm going to stop it there for length. See how, yeah, the light's not that great. So she's going to represent a kind of mermaid person, and then we come down to the sunset, and then a shell, a scallop shell, and then we come down to, whoops, the sea and the Ailsa Craig part of it that I talked about earlier, and then we come down to this part here where it could represent a plate or a boat or something like that shape, a vessel of some kind, sort of paying homage to the past where I used to paint a lot of fish and draw a lot of fish. And then of course the danglies with the pieces of shell on it. Good morning, it's Friday morning, and I want to finish this story totem up. So the last thing I wanted to add to it was a small book. Do you remember the sonnet I was talking to you about that John Keats wrote about Ailsa Craig? Well, I decided that I would quite like to do a mini book a mini book or something along those lines to attach to the story totem somewhere. And the idea is, wait and I'll bring you round. The idea is, sorry about my camera work here, is that I've written out all the words, see, I've written the whole poem out, and my husband has lots of maps, and I was about to nick one and he went, no, because he knew I was going to potentially cut it up. But anyway, whoops. So I just photocopied the diagram of Ailsa Craig. That's what it looks like, and I've just flung some tea over it, and I quite like that. So I might use that as the cover. I don't want the book, I just want it a mini book. And then if I print out with these stamps the words onto a nice tea-dyed piece of paper like that, and then I can fold it up and make it into a little book. So that's the idea. I'm swithering about what kind of cover, what the cover would be. So I quite like that. and there's a few other potentials as well. For instance, that one and that one, and a few others that I have lying around that I need to find. So So that's the little booklet. I have attached a poetry label on the front, a button with a brad, and attached some embroidery thread that goes round that there. This is a library card, I believe, and then if you open it up it asks you to unfold, and so you unfold it and it reveals a bird's eye view of Ailsa Craig. Well, it's a map diagram, so that's the first thing you see, and with a few labels, and then it reveals the actual poem itself, and I've just added a few bits in there. And then you just fold that back up, and at the back I have an eyelet and a wee safety pin, which will go onto the bottom of the hanging. So I've made it to the end of the project, and I hope you enjoyed watching what I was doing and you can get some ideas for yourself. I really enjoyed the fact that there was no plan, and I just built and kind of invented things as the project went along, and the story Totem became a reality with all the just bits of paper that I had, using up old art, things that I didn't like anymore, and just cut them up. And you can, as I said before, you can find some little gems in there that you can use. So yes, great for that. And I think if someone come into your studio or your home, if you've got it there, and they say, oh, what's that all about? And then you've got a story to tell about it, you've got something to say about it, and I love that idea. So yes, hopefully we'll see you in the next video, and if you do make one, hashtag me on Instagram with Julie's story totem, and I'll be able to see what you've created there, and I'll be really excited to see. So see you in the next one. Bye.